Indian political institutions and processes. This is the subject, generally a paper in political science in college exams. Okay, this is the topic and the subtopic of it, or you can say the chapter or unit, whatever. Okay, we are discussing Indian political institutions and processes, and in it, the first topic is the Constituent Assembly, main issues and trends. Okay, so let's start. Okay. The Constituent Assembly of India, 1946 to 1949, forging a sovereign, democratic, and inclusive republic. The Constituent Assembly of India was not merely a law-making body; it was the supreme political expression of the Indian national movement, tasked with the monumental responsibility of translating the dream of independence into a concrete constitutional framework for a sovereign republic. From a political science perspective, its deliberations represent a profound process of state building where competing ideologies, diverse interests, and contrasting visions of India were negotiated, synthesized, and codified into a single enduring document. The Assembly's work was characterized by a series of grand debates on the fundamental nature of the Indian state, making it a critical subject for understanding the origins and ethos of the Indian Republic. The genesis and composition, a representative microcosm of a diverse nation. The formation and legitimacy. The assembly was constituted under the Cabinet Mission Plan of 1946. Its members were elected indirectly by the members of the provincial legislative assemblies using a single transferable vote method. Initial limitation, it was initially a dominion legislature under the Government of India Act 1935, and its authority was derived from the British Parliament. However, with the passing of the Indian Independence Act of 1947, it became a fully sovereign body accountable only to the Indian people. The objectives resolution, December 30, 1946, moved by Jawaharlal Nehru. This resolution laid down the fundamental philosophy and aims of the Constitution. It declared India as an independent sovereign republic whose power was derived from the people. It guaranteed social, economic, and political justice, equality of status and opportunity, and fundamental freedoms to all citizens. The resolution became the philosophical preamble to the final constitution. Composition and social representation. The assembly was a microcosm of India, but not a perfect mirror. It was dominated by the Indian National Congress, reflecting its electoral dominance in 1946 elections. It included some of the finest legal and political minds of the era, often called the founding fathers and mothers. Key figures included Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, chairman of the drafting committee, the chief architect; Jawaharlal Nehru, the visionary who set the ideological tone; Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the pragmatist who oversaw the integration of princely state; Dr. Rajendra Prasad, president of the assembly; K.M. Munshi, Aladi Krishnaswamy Iyer, N. Gopalswamy Iyengar, key members of the drafting committee. Women members such as Sarojini Naidu, Hansa Mehta, Durgabai Deshmukh, and Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, who made crucial intervention, particularly on the Uniform Civil Code and women's rights. Source integration. The definitive historical account is Granville Austin's The Indian Constitution, cornerstone of a nation, which brilliantly details the assembly work. The debates themselves are recorded in the 12-volume Constituent Assembly Debates (CAD), the primary source for any analysis. The main issues and ideological trends, the grand debates. The assembly work was defined by a series of profound debates that shaped the character of the Indian state, the nature of the Indian state, unitary versus federal, the center state debate. The issue, given India's immense diversity and the recent trauma of partition, a key question was distribution of power between the center and the states. The debate, the union model, the assembly influenced by the need for a strong central authority to ensure national unity and integrity, opted for a union of states with a strong center. This was a reaction to the divide and rule policies of the British and the Fizzy-Paris tendencies exposed by partition. Key features of the union: a single constitution and citizenship, a strong union parliament that could legislate on state subjects under certain circumstances, the appointment of governors by the state, the creation of all India services, political science analysis. This established a system often described as quasi federal or federal in structure but unitary in spirit. It was pragmatic compromise between the need for national cohesion and the recognition of regional diversity. Secularism versus communal representation, defining the nation's soul. The issue: how should the state relate to religion, especially after the partition on religion grounds? The debate: the vision of a secular state. The dominant Congress leadership, particularly Nehru and Ambedkar, was committed to a secular state where the state would not have any official religion and would treat all religions with equal respect. This was a direct rejection of the two nation theory. The abolition of separate electorates. The assembly decisively abolished separate electorates, which had been a cornerstone of colonial communal politics. This was one of the most significant acts. Controversies: minority rights. While separate electorates were abolished, the assembly initially provided for reserved seats for religious minorities. However, this was later revoked for all except scheduled castes and scheduled tribes based on the persuasion of leaders like Sardar Patel, who argued that political safeguards would perpetuate minority consciousness. The Uniform Civil Code, UCC Article 44. This was one of the most contentious issues. While it was included as a non justiciable directive principle, the Assembly could not agree on its immediate implementation due to strong opposition from religious minorities, particularly Muslims, who saw it as an infringement on the personal laws. This debate remains unresolved. Social justice and affirmative action, addressing historical wrongs. The issue: how to address the deep seated social and economic inequalities, particularly the historical oppression of scheduled castes, tribes, and other backward classes. The debate: the proponents, led forcefully by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who argued that political democracy was meaningless without social and economic democracy. The outcome: the assembly embedded the principles of affirmative action into the constitution. Abolition of untouchability, Article 17, a radical and immediate measure. Reservation policies, Article 15, 4, 16, Section 4, 335, provided for reservation of seats in legislature and posts in public services for SCs as STs. Directive principles of state policy, a whole section, part 4, was dedicated to guiding the state towards achieving social and economic democracy. Political science analysis: this established India as a pioneer in constitutionalizing affirmative action, making social justice as a core state objective. The language question, the one nation, one language dilemma. The issue: what should be the official language of the Union? The debate: this was one of the most emotionally charged and divisive issues. The Hindi camp wanted Hindi in the Devanagari script to be the sole national language. The anti-Hindi camp represented largely the members of South India, especially Tamil Nadu, who feared the domination of Hindi and the marginalization of their languages and cultures. The pragmatic compromise, the Munshi Ayanagar formula. Hindi and Devanagari script were declared the official language of the Union. English was to continue for all official purposes for a period of 15 years till 1965. The creation of an official language commission to review the progress. The protection of linguistic minorities was guaranteed. The form of government, presidential versus parliamentary system. The issue: should India adopt a powerful executive-led presidential system like the USA or a cabinet-style parliamentary system like the UK? The debate: the assembly overwhelmingly chose the British-style parliamentary system. Reasons: familiarity. Indians had some experience with this system under the Government of India Act 1935. Accountability: it ensured a direct line of accountability of the executive, the Council of Ministers, to the legislature, Lok Sabha. Flexibility: it was seen as more flexible and responsive to a diverse and changing society. This choice established the principle of collective responsibility and the nominal head of the state, president, versus the real head of the government, prime minister. Source integration. The debates on language are vividly captured in the CAD Volume 9. Ambedkar's defense of the draft constitution, explaining these choices, A masterful summary found in CAD Volume 9, November 25, 1949. The enduring legacy and conclusion. The Constituent Assembly of India was a remarkable success in deliberative democracy. It managed to craft a constitution that was both idealistic and pragmatic. It set lofty goals in the preamble and directive principles while providing a workable framework for governance. A blend of traditions, it borrowed from multiple sources: British, American, Irish, Canadian, German, but adopted them to Indian condition, creating a unique and enduring document. A tool for social transformation, it was not a status quo document but a revolutionary one, designed to use the state as a instrument for creating a just and egalitarian society. The main trends: a strong but democratic state, a commitment to secularism, a dedication to social justice, and a pragmatic approach to diversity were not preordained. They were the product of intense negotiation, philosophical conflict, and a shared vision forged in the crucible of the freedom struggle and the tragedy of partition. The Indian Constitution, the Assembly's gift to the nation, remains the foundational document of the world's largest democracy, a living testament to wisdom, foresight, and political genius of its creator. Okay, the topic 1 is completed. We'll meet in topic 2 of this paper in the next video.